crap. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the All Memphis Post Game Show. I'm gonna have to add the intro later. When we recap, break down every Memphis Grizzlies and Memphis Tigers game right after it happens. You don't have to wait for our take. It's me, Jamal. That's the homie Mace. And throughout the technical difficulties, we are here tonight to talk about the Grizzlies winning a very old school game against the Miami Heat tonight, 89 to 86. 89 to 85. I'm sorry. It was so low scoring. I just had to give him some points. Mace, how are you feeling tonight about the game?
Take me back to 2014, baby. A team comes into the grindhouse on a 5-game winning streak. One of the best defenses in the NBA. The Heat came in ranked 4th, and they allow the fewest points in the paint in the NBA, only 40 per game. And the defense lived up to the expectations, but the Grizzlies just grit and grinded their way to a win, and it was really fun to see. Even though I wasn't really thrilled with the level of play we saw from the Grizzlies, and maybe more so the style of play. I guess it's not really the level of play, but I thought we saw a stylistic change tonight, and we'll see if that was for one game only or for the future. But I thought we had an emphasis on three-pointers and team rebounding tonight is what it looked like. And could just be the matchup, but I'm interested to see if that stays true to form moving forward, because we usually lead the league in points in the paint per game. So to see us not do that and shoot 42 threes, maybe it's the defensive matchup against Miami and just their scheme and how it works. But I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of noticed that right off the bat in the first quarter. I think they shot 13 threes in the first quarter.
Yep.
And I don't ever think we ever shot. I mean, they didn't say it was a record, but you don't ever remember seeing them shoot so many threes especially in the first quarter. Especially because usually the first quarter is where they try to get Jonas going, and they didn't really do that tonight. He was a beast on the boards in the beginning. I think he got like maybe the first 3 or 4 rebounds, and it was also a lot of we didn't do a lot of offensive rebounding early either, which I guess you can say just because of the shots, but it was pretty interesting. I think there's one thing that you notice right off the bat. Grayson came in and took like maybe 2 or 3 quick ones. The first shot made was a 3, and then he came in just gunning. And I think we text each other when we saw like the Grayson was in the starting lineup. Like we said the last show, like Taylor Jenkins was not going to, if Grayson's healthy and Desmond Bane was going to slack any bit, Grayson was getting that spot back, and he did, and it was instantaneous.
Yeah, I mean, it was easy to see coming, and to Coach Jenkins' credit, we got the win against one of the hottest teams in the NBA, who we talked about on the previous show as we were previewing this game, just that they were, surging up the standings. They had an awful start to the season, and now they're already, one of the top 4 teams in the East. So I thought, the starting lineup it did what it's been doing. It really wasn't great, whereas it has. So I just lied. It didn't do what it's been doing. This starting lineup with Grayson in it has been, I think, the best starting lineup in the NBA in the first quarter, and they didn't really get off to a great start. And the bench kind of came in and saved us, I thought. But who we saw pushed out of the rotation with Grayson moved back into the starting lineup, it wasn't a shooting guard. It wasn't Bane or Melton or anyone this time. It was actually Xavier Tillman, rookie big man who, he's been fine, but really hasn't been great the last 2-3 weeks maybe. Still plenty of potential there, but just hasn't been as good as as some of the other guys. And we slid Brandon Clark down to the 5, and tonight, or to the backup 5, and tonight it worked great. He was blocking shots. He was all over the place defensively, but Miami's also not huge. And not a lot of teams in the NBA are these days, but just some observations of the rotation.
Well, that's why I thought that we would have saw a big game from Jonas tonight, because which I guess I'm going to have to get that thought out of my head of when we play these teams that don't really have a inside presence that Jonas is going to eat.
Shit, they got Bam. Bam, one of the best big defenders in the league.
That's what I mean. That's what I thought. But like, didn't they have Olynyk on him in the beginning, or did they have Bam on him in the beginning?
I think it was Bam, and then you got to go look at the stats, man. They only allowing 40 points in the paint per game.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. You expect Jonas. Jonas is a double machine. You give me a double every game, and I mean he did it on the rebounds thing today, and he just didn't have a lot of opportunities in the paint today. But he put up 5 or 6 shots, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of times, if the starting center matchup is bad for him, you can bring him in against the backups, and he can eat there. But the Heat just basically don't play any backup bigs.
And so like you said, the matchup for him wasn't good because they went to the backup. They just went. They brought in another, not really a big, but somebody that can stretch the floor and act like a pseudo big, a stretch 4, stretch 5. So that was interesting to see. Kyle got off to a pretty good start, but it was also Ja and Dylan weren't that good in the first half. And the numbers kind of show. I don't have exactly what they were in the first half, but Dylan was being Dylan, got a quick foul for no reason. He just loves to get quick fouls. But yeah, it was not. You don't want to call it a bad start because it wasn't like we were losing the game and we were getting blown out, but it was a very uncharacteristic start to the game than what we're used to seeing. And granted, I hadn't, like you said, I don't know if it was just a matchup thing because I hadn't watched much of the Heat play this year, but we have made a point to note that this is one of the best float shooting team in the NBA. And I don't know if I saw any real deal like below the free throw line floaters that we in, like if we knew they can't get points in the paint, you just go to the float, get up fast, get in the float and shoot it. But we were settling for threes, so it was probably either threes or layups, man. Like that was the game plan. If you get in there, go for a layup or dribble it back out and try to get a 3.
Yeah, and Coach Spo is one of the best tacticians in the league, and the Heat for a while were in this little zone that basically it was like a 2-1-2, but they were moving real different. But it basically had a man right there in the floater area, so it's like you're not going to shoot this floater. And yeah, like we shot 42 threes, which is uncharacteristic. But yeah, if you were coming to this game for offense, there was none. Neither team shot above 40%. The Grizzlies' leading scorer had 13 points. So I mean, that just lets you know what type of rock fight this was. We had a lead at the end of the first quarter by 4. Then we go into halftime down by 1. We had a really bad last 3.5 minutes. Yep, I think we were scoreless.
Scoreless for the last 3.5 minutes of the second quarter. But like even when you look at the first half stats, we had 16 made baskets on 14 assists. So it was like, there was something that you want not a lot of creating for yourself, but creating for somebody else. And it was ugly. It was ugly, like you said. But like we weren't getting put out of the game, which you liked about that. You liked a lot about that.
Yeah, we had a play there that was kind of right in the middle of the Heat run because the Grizzlies actually pushed it to 9 early in the second quarter. Then the Heat came back and obviously took the lead in the halftime. But our boy Precious Achiuwa, Memphis Tiger, alum, well, not really alum, former Memphis Tiger, a rookie on the Heat, caught our boy slipping. Did you see that? Did you see him catch Ja Morant slipping?
Ja made a business decision halfway up in the air. He jumped and then he was like, "Nah, I'm good." And he tried to get back down on the ground as quick as possible. But yeah, we gonna call it a dunk on. You got dunked on, player.
Yeah, and the photo doesn't look great for our boy Ja, but it wasn't that bad real in live terms. It could have been a lot worse. It wasn't Anthony Edwards on Utah, but he got dunked on for sure. He got dunked on. But you dunk on 5 people and you get dunked on once, it's going to happen.
Right.
The first half, our shot breakdown was Dylan took 6, Ja took 5, Kyle 5, Grayson 5, BC 5, and Justice 4. Valanciunas only had 1 point in the first half. Ja only had 4 and 4. Grayson was our leading scorer. He had 9, and I'm not sure, did he score in the second half?
No, he didn't. He ended with 9.
Yeah. So, and the funny thing was there were stats going around right before the game once the starting lineup was announced. I think the Fast Break Breakfast tweeted it out, but he said, yes, the Grizzlies have the best lineup in the first quarter when Grayson starts with this unit. But their plus minus in the second half is like minus 25 or something. So that held true to form today. So I don't know what that is or if that's something that and I don't know if the lineup change. I think the lineup change is permanent, and I assume the rotation change is permanent for like 2 weeks or something. But it could have just been Jenkins adjusting to a matchup. So, but we haven't seen him do that. I don't think in a year and a half, and we really don't see that much in the NBA where coaches fluctuate from their normal everyday rotation. So.
I think Grayson Allen is your starting shooting guard, and I think it's going to be that way until there's another COVID pause or until he gets hurt. Until he gives them a reason to take him out.
Would you, if you were the coach and the numbers continue this way for say the next week or so, where that unit's great in the first quarter and then the second half is terrible? Would you consider starting like Melton in the second half and bringing Grayson off the bench if that trend continues?
I think I would consider it. I would.
No, I mean, sorry. I mean, starting Grayson in the first quarter and then starting Melton after halftime. Sorry.
Yeah, I would definitely consider it. I would. I mean, like if our third quarter numbers are terrible, then you got to figure out why the first 6 minutes of the third quarter are terrible every game for like 2 weeks. We got to figure out why it's terrible, guys. And I'm going to start with the lineup. You know what I'm saying? Like something's going to have to change. And you don't want to mess up the start of the game because it is good at the start of the game. But like something's going to have to change if we keep messing up with these third quarters. We keep starting slow. But it also was like me just finding a way to get Grayson out of the lineup.
Yeah.
But he plays well. It's an unsubstantiated, I don't even want to say hate because it's not even a hate. It's just that he plays well. We obviously know the chemistry between him and Ja. You've pointed that out numerous times. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. I think I like Melton. I don't know if Melton's your starter though. I don't know. I'm glad I ain't supposed to make these decisions because
I think we almost every Grizz fan agrees that Melton is the best shooting guard currently on the roster, but I'm just not sure if he fits with the current starting lineup as is.
Right, and I think, and then you just kind of extrapolate to when Jaren gets back. What does that do? Like you can't have Melton as a better shooter Melton has become, you still can't have him on the court with that lineup. Like, if you're going to you want that court spread to get Jaren and Jonas room to work, even though Jaren can spread it out. So, like, you want to keep those guys spread. And so, like, I think it's the same question that we've had. When Jaren comes back, you move Kyle to the bench. Are you moving Kyle to the bench or are you moving Grayson to the bench? And bringing Dylan, moving Dylan down, Kyle at the 3, Jaren at the 4, and Jonas at the 5.
Yeah, I don't know. That's who knows if we ever have to make that decision because
we might not be in that position. We might not ever be in that position to make that decision because we might not see Jaren this year. So, but yeah, I you kept a point. We had 22 paint points midway through the third quarter. Which is unlike this team, but that's what the Heat does. The Heat stops you from scoring in the paint. And it's literally like once you get past your defender on the wing, on the perimeter, there's a wall there. Like you might just see one defender, but as soon as you put a foot near the area, here come 3 more arms of people that you never even saw. Like the way that they play defense and are committed to the defensive end was pretty good. And the same thing with the Grizzlies. I mean, they did only hold them to 85 points.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's pretty good.
Like, that's good in itself, man.
The Heat had a 16-point third quarter, and the Grizzlies had a 17-point fourth quarter and held on for the win.
And like of that 16 points, Jimmy Butler scored 11 of that 16 points for them, or like 12 of that 16 points for them in that third quarter.
Yeah, I know he had at 1.10
Yeah,
when they were up 63-55, and I do think he had two more in that quarter. And that was like with 5 minutes to go. They were up 8, and then the bench mob just goes on a run. So the bench mob plays the last 5 minutes of the third quarter, and they end up as plus 15 in that quarter alone. Like they took it from down 8 to when the quarter ended, it was 72-63, and they scored. I think they scored 13 straight in that
yeah.
5 minutes.
They
So
shifted the energy of the whole game. Brandon Clark, DeAnthony Melton came in and shifted the energy of the entire game. DeAnthony we were getting stops, we were getting rebounds, holding them to one shot, and we're getting out in transition. DeAnthony's being a one-man fast break a couple of times. Brandon Clark blocking shots and doing what he needs to do. Ja making people fall, which I don't really mean the crossover didn't really make him fall. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Did Ja really make him fall, or did he just
that's
fall?
that's the second similar one I've seen. Oh, it was last game when Dylan fell. When I think Devin Booker made Dylan fall, then he tried to shoot it real quick, but it's like that guy's running and like turning around as quickly as he can. Like, of course he's gonna lose his balance every now and then, but Ja had more of a case than Devin Booker, I thought.
I think so too. But like you
Ja
can actually
pointed at him.
he pointed at him and pointed at the ground. Like you can see the energy start building and how good old Uncle Momentum just came in there real quick and it just picked the whole team up. Like that was probably the most exciting 4 minutes of the game if you take away the last couple minutes, I guess. And like after DeAnthony's one hand dunk on, which was crazy.
Yeah, that was a real one.
Yeah, he called him. Was it Bam?
Bam, yeah.
Yeah, was it Bam? And like they went to the bench, like the bench was crazy. The bench was going crazy. So I'm like, okay, yeah, like the energy just kind of went through the team, and it started even in the fourth quarter. It kind of transitioned to the fourth quarter, but then it quickly dropped off in the fourth quarter when the Heat put their starters back in, put Jimmy Butler back in, and the game got close and tight, and we ended up making shots late down the stretch, and they did.
Yeah, we had a couple turnovers there late. I mean, we were up 6 with 4:32 left. The score was 80-74. And Jenkins subbed out, I think it was Valanciunas and Grayson, I believe. And we closed the last 4.5 minutes basically with Ja, Melton, Brooks, Kyle, and Brandon Clark. Yeah. Against the Heat starters, but Hero was in for Kendrick Nunn, I think, and Dragic was in there. I don't remember who all they started, but yeah, it just turned into like a grind fest. Like who is going to make shots because both of these defenses are cutting the water off.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing pretty about it, but the Heat clawed their way back. And Melton had a costly turnover. He tried to throw a oop. It looked like Bubble Melton for a second, but that kid tonight, first of all, it's crazy that he's only 22 years old and this is his third year in the league. It set a career high in rebounding. I think he had 12 rebounds. 10.
I think it was. He probably had 12.
He had 10. He had 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists. And
the way they were scoring it, they took a few away from him. Like they maybe called it a team rebound, or they gave it to somebody else. Because even on the broadcast, Pete and Brevin were like, "Oh, I thought he had 10 earlier." And then just look at the official score. He ended up getting 10 on that last one.
Yeah, and I mean, it was good to see because when you go small, moving Tillman out of the rotation, it's going to take someone to step up and get those rebounds. And I thought he did a great job. And like, if he can bring that in, he looked like Tony Allen tonight with a better offensive repertoire. We're saying it all the time and giving him a lot of credit, but he's earning. I mean, that potential is just through the roof. So I'm really excited about him. But he turned it over and Jimmy got a dunk, and then Jimmy stole a pass from, I think, Dylan, got another bucket, and it's a 2-point game. Then Dylan came and jacked up a 3 to try to make up for it. And the next thing you know, we go almost 5 minutes without a field goal.
Right.
And Tyler Hero gets a layup because the Heat got an offensive rebound, and it's all tied up.
Yeah, and then we have to make shots down the stretch, and it showed something, which might be a problem for this team. We haven't seen it a lot this season. Once you get into these clutch situations, and it's not a fast break type thing, like who's going to take the shot? Who's going to be the guy to do that? Ja's jump shot isn't where it needs to be enough for him to be comfortable. Like, you got to think that we eventually ran a play for Kyle Anderson, and Kyle Anderson ran a play to win us the game. He missed the layup. DeAnthony got the rebound and got fouled. And there was a man's rebound that he got too. He was in there like, how the hell did he end up with the ball? But like, that play was for Kyle Anderson. And I'm like, dog, I don't know if I want – Kyle is as steady as they come, but I don't know if I want him to be the one in the crunch time, in the clutch, making that decision to taking that shot.
Yeah, but it worked out. So, and J.O. makes a good point in the comments, says that the biggest play was when Melton stripped Hero. And that was right after he had just tied the game, and he gets it on a fast break. Miami's got all the momentum in the world, and Melton just snags that right out of his hand.
Like, right out of his hands.
And then I think we call a timeout, and we can't get the ball inbounds, so we got to call another timeout. Then it was the play for Kyle, and like you said, Melton just had a man rebound, knocked down both free throws, and gave us that 2-point lead. And then the Heat, they missed 2 shots, but they got 2 offensive rebounds, and Dragic got fouled, and it's a tie game again.
Yeah, and they had really good looks. Like Duncan Robinson, Goran Dragic missed a 3. They got the rebound. Then Tyler Hero missed a good look from straight ahead and missed it, and they got the rebound. And then they called a loose ball foul on Brandon Clark for Dragic to shoot the free throw. And then it's not my play of the game, but it's like the play of the game is we get Dragic makes both free throws. We take the ball out and put the ball in Ja's hand. Ja goes full court. All dribbles with his left hand.
Yeah.
Ball did not touch his right hand. He didn't bring his right hand at all. So Jimmy Butler fouls him. They don't call it. So he kind of he gets away from Jimmy, throws away from Jimmy. But Jimmy's on his side, riding him, drive all the way down the court, scoop up, left hand layup, bucket. I was just telling Alex, like, yo, he didn't put his right hand on that ball at all. And even if he was going to use his right hand to gather for the layup, that might have gave Jimmy room to swipe down and like get the ball away. But him just keeping it in his left hand, then he put it on his hip and he bumped that jump up. It was a great play, man. And then obviously clutch won the game for us. But there was a good play against a great defender.
Yeah, and I mean, we said it a few weeks ago. That's his signature move, and that's what he goes to, and that's what he went to when we needed a bucket the most. I'm surprised that's not what he went to against Jokic when he didn't get the call and didn't make the shot. He actually shot that one right-handed, and I think he said, well, that don't make any sense because I'm going right into the defender because he was driving left, and it was the same type of situation. So, yeah, huge shot, and it's great to see that his confidence wasn't altered at all by, the last one not going in. I mean, even down the stretch, he's taking pull-up threes like he's, Steph Curry or something, like, hey, I'm going to knock these down. Of course, he didn't, but he still got that confidence. The kid, it's unwavering. And then after the bucket, the Heat had a timeout, and they run a lob play, and it looked like they just kind of gave up once the initial look wasn't there. Bam just threw a bad lob, and Kyle just caught it. Like, okay, cool, appreciate it.
That was a terrible lob. It was a terrible lob. It barely got over the rim. Jimmy wasn't going to catch. Like, Jimmy's going to catch. You think Jimmy Butler's about to catch that right now? But not yet. They kind of just like, you know what, forget it. And so
I was like, okay, they're lined up like they're about to throw a lob to Jimmy, and I'm like, but it must be a distraction. So Dragic is going to come up and take the top of the key 3 or something and try to win the game and get out of there because we caught the Heat. I think this was their 4th game in 6 nights or 5th in 7 nights. They've been on some crazy stretch.
5th and 7 is their 5th and 7.
And I mean, you could see Duncan Robinson. He looked like he couldn't even get the ball to the rim at times there late in the second half. But to be fair, no one could. Not our team or theirs. Justice Winslow was shorter than BB King Boulevard.
No, but we gave Duncan Robinson 3 open looks in the second half, in the fourth quarter, like that last 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. And you're like, in a normal game, those are down. He's making those. And you're like, oh my God, we got lucky. They said on the broadcast, we dodged a couple bullets with that one.
Hey, what they say on the jump?
It's a make or miss league. It's a make or miss league, man. And like you hate, like in this type of game, you're happy you won, but it frustrates you because you go back to that game on Sunday. In my mind, like you just beat the Thunder, beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And a win like this helps you out even more. And even you got lucky tonight. No, they came back and won. Denver won too. So like you can take it. Start if you're thinking playoffs, you got to start taking advantage of some of these nights where these other teams lose, and you have to win these games. And you get a wounded Warriors team coming in here on Friday and Saturday. Steph bruised his hip bone. Yeah, his tailbone. So he ain't. Chances are he ain't gonna play one of them. He might play one, but he definitely not playing one. He might play one of the two, but he's not playing one of the two. Then they had to leave James Wiseman and somebody else at the crib for COVID testing and for contact tracing. And this, I don't know who was in the house with James Wiseman or what James Wiseman's doing, but he is always under COVID protocol. This dude can't just stay in the house. Matter of fact, move into the practice facility because you always. This is like his third or fourth game missed because of COVID protocol.
Yeah, him and Eric Pascal. So who knows? Maybe it was a barber situation. You know, it could have just been getting a haircut, man.
Man, dog, don't get no cut. You ain't getting no girls no way. Don't get no cut. Just let it grow out.
Hey, man, get off my boy, man. Come on. NCAA was on him last year. Now you on him. Everybody's on him this year. Talking about, should have taken LaMelo, blah, blah, blah.
Nah, he ain't even going to win Rookie of the Year. LaMelo got that locked up already.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true.
Nah. But no, James Wiseman is going to be a great NBA player. His first month of the season was off the charts in limited playing time. Great, and still learning. Did I say great? He's going to be a good NBA player. Yeah, he'll be a good NBA player. That's all you can ask for. But yeah, so you're happy for this win. You got to start taking advantage of this. Like, if you get a team that's on their 5th game in 7 nights, you're supposed to win that game. Whatever team it is, that's what you're supposed to do. So I'm happy that they did it. It was ugly. It took us back to 2014, 2013. You know, them games where we reveled in these type of games, and now we just like, nah, dog. Let's get that score up. Like we didn't score 100 against the Nuggets on Friday. We didn't score 100 against the Heat today. Like we can't do this. We got to score some points, man.
Yeah, and the difference is back then we weren't shooting 42 threes. Like we were taking 22 seconds off the shot clock, and Zebo was pounding it inside. So like we couldn't score 115 if we wanted to.
Right.
So yeah, this is not a great offensive performance, but I guess you'll take it. Like, yeah, at this point, you'll take any win, however you can get it, especially against a team like the Heat. So
against a team like the Heat, and then you can take good things away from the defense. I think like the coach said at halftime, they came in with a defensive plan, and they stuck to it. They were playing hard on the defensive end. We scored 89, but like I said, we held them to 85, and they had tired legs, but they're still an NBA team. And Jimmy Butler still Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was still eating up Dylan Brooks and talking shit to him the whole third quarter. Like he got a foul on Dylan and told him to get out the game. He told him, you need to get out the game. And then when Justice came in, he said, thank you, Justice, for coming and getting him. Like Jimmy was talking so much. He was talking so much.
I love now. Well, I mean, I don't love it because of the circumstances, but with there not being as many fans in the arena, you pick up on a lot more of the on-court chatter. So, and the announcers always try to just act like we can't hear it and just gloss over it. But I love being able to hear it.
That's what I miss the most about like being down there.
Yeah.
Like, you can't hear that, and it's so funny because Dylan as my my theory, it's not my theory, it's proven. Dylan brings this on himself because he starts talking to them. And so he starts talking to them and they get going. And then next thing you know, you got Jimmy Butler scoring 16 of the Heat's 16 points in the third quarter and telling you to get out the game because you can't guard him.
Well, Pete and Brevin mentioned that he had been on some streak of 27 points, scoring 27. I don't know how many straight games, but he didn't get there tonight. So
right. But
I mean, they only scored 85, so he scored over a quarter of their points.
As much as I'm gonna be on his head all the time, but you cannot take anything away from Dylan on the defensive end. He plays defense, he works his butt off, and he has the task of guarding the other team's best player every night. Like, look who he's guarded the last week: Bradley Beal, Jamal Murray, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Devin Booker, and Jimmy Butler. And he probably held all of them to under their average, except Booker, because I think Book went off. And Gilgeous and Shai. Okay. I don't whatever. Take the second half of that sentence away.
Hey, 3 out of 5 ain't bad. 3 out of 5.
You know what I'm saying? Murray struggled for the first 3 quarters against us. So like you get some grace in that stuff, but when it goes bad for you, sometimes it's you on full display when it goes bad for you.
All right, man. I think we talked enough about this game. That was 89-85. Who you got for player of the game? I think we probably got the same one.
The Anthony Melton, Mr. Do It All, do something, whatever his name is. He played great game, man. I think you said he had 13, 10, 6.
Yep, and I mean the potential there. You got people now saying maybe he's the third piece of the third most important piece on the roster. So great to see him continuing to ball.
It's a good thing we locked him up for a few more years. It's a good thing we still got a job. Like, look, it's a great thing our majority owner is a billionaire, because in about 4 to 5 years, when all these dudes are in their prime for real, you're gonna have to drop some money off, my guy. So that's good. Who you got for bum of the game?
Oh, bum of the game. I forgot all about this one. Let's see. Who do I have for bum of the game? Ain't it? Oh, Kelly Olynyk. No. Sorry, Kelly Olynyk. As much as I dislike you, Kendrick Nunn, man. Last year, false claim and rookie of the year, came out here 2 for 10 and just got owned by Ja. So, Kendrick Nunn's gonna be my bum of the game for years to come against this team, I think.
All that talk last year, how he deserved rookie of the year. And I would love to see his numbers against Ja. Even though Ja's not really guarding him, I would love to know. And you ain't did nothing. But you know who I'm really gonna call the bum of the game? Not the referees.
It's just so natural.
Yeah, the jersey designers for these Nike "you earned it" jerseys. Let's give the teams that make the playoffs new jersey. That was the Heat called that their trophy gold.
Is that what that's supposed to be?
You didn't win the trophy last year. You lost in the finals, my guy. So the trophy that you won last year was the silver trophy, not gold.
Are you serious? That's what that's for?
That's what it's for. So like you do know that's all 16 teams that made the playoffs last year got an extra jersey this year. And I guess they got to design, they put their own thing on it, and they chose gold and they called it their trophy gold. I guess for the trophies they won when LeBron was there, but they ain't win a trophy last year. And yeah,
that's terrible. What about play of the game?
Man, like I got 2, both involving Anthony Melton. One was his left hand one-handed dunk on Bam, which was like off a fast break. And then the other one was his steal on Tyler Hero, because at that point of the game, there was just a huge play that led to something good. So that's those are my 2.
Yeah, I had the strip, and now I had one more Melton, the offensive rebound off Kyle's miss with 29 seconds left, and he goes to the free throw line. And then just a final shout out to Ja's game winner.
Yeah,
not often that's not the play of the game. But I think the Grizzlies covered. So did you win any money tonight?
They covered, and I didn't have that as a straight up bet. I had that in a parlay that the Boston Celtics ruined because they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because the Celtics should be losing to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Granted, they were both on a back-to-back. The Cavs actually played the Heat last night, and in Miami, and so they flew from Miami to Boston. Boston was Boston at home? No, yeah, Boston was at home. I forgot who they played. They played the Jazz last night and lost to them. So, I had money on that. Yeah, this was the parlay. This was that the Celtics ruined. Golden State Warriors at Houston Rockets. Houston sucks. They lost 18 in a row. So Golden State won. So don't even matter. One game off, they ruined it for me. For this game, I had Kyle Anderson getting more than 4 rebounds. He did that. Bam scoring more than 10 points. He did that. Bam scoring more than 6 rebounds. He did that. Jonas getting more than 10 rebounds. He did that. Jimmy Butler getting more than 6 rebounds. He did that. Kyle getting more than 10 points. He did that. But the ones that I didn't hit are the ones that always usually hit. One is Jonas, because Jonas is a double-double. Jonas usually gives you a double-double every game. He gave you 7, and I said he would give you 15. I didn't even go 10 or 12 like I usually do. I said 15 he didn't do. Dylan Brooks, I said it would give you 15. He gave you 10. And I said Ja would give you 15. He gave you, but Ja gave you 13.
Yeah.
And Ja usually gives you around 15 and 6, 15 and 7. So,
well, yeah, when you score 89 points, there's going to be a few people who don't hit those marks.
Right. When you score 89 points, that's what happened. That's another $3 going down the drain, man. $3 going down the drain.
Well, you get another chance on Friday when the Warriors come into town for a home back-to-back. Play the Warriors Friday and Saturday. Unfortunately, it looks like no Steph, no Wiseman. But hopefully the Grizz can pick up 2 W's against a team that's right ahead of them in the standings. So huge matchup long term.
I actually wonder if there would be if he's like 50% when they let him play. Because even for them, this is big for them too. They need to get separation from us. So, or maybe they might just be on the same shit like, yo, we cool with this year. When Clay comes back next year, we're gonna be straight.
Like if they could add one more piece.
Yeah.
And this draft class it's getting juicier and juicier. Just wait till this tournament's done. It's going to be so many prospects that people are salivating over.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, man, that's it. Mace, let the people know where they can find you.
Y'all can find me on Twitter at BarnburnerSlim. Y'all can find the show in audio format, aka podcast, anywhere you get your podcast. Just search All Memphis Postgame. Click on it, subscribe, leave us a review, 5 stars, please. Let us know, if you want to hear anything particular, any segments or anything like that. But you ain't got to. Just be like, yeah, the show's great. You should listen. Jay, where can they find you?
Man, they can find me on Twitter at Nerdy McFly. They can find the show on Facebook at The Kickback Pod or Diamond in the Bluff Media on Facebook, or just Diamond in the Bluff on Facebook. And on the YouTubes for the video show, they could find it on, just type in Diamond in the Bluff, and we're there. And like May said, subscribe, review. If you don't do that, we're going to be inclined to think you're a hater, as the homie Bomani Jones say. If you don't leave me a rating, I'm going to think you a hater. So you tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend to listen to this. You ain't got to wait 5 takes. It's right after the game. We halfway sleep doing this. But anyway, with that being said, that is Mace. I am Jamal, and we are out.
Big 12. You hear me?
You hear me?